Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Update: my life was wrecked 47 times TL/DR and previous links at bottom. In an attempt to fulfill my promise to update more often with shorter posts, this will hopefully accomplish both. My apologies if any of my previous posts caused eye strain or an aneurysm. I assure you all that was never my intent. Someone asked in the comments of my previous post about Rebecca and if I've had any interaction with her. Just so no one has to go back and read that response, I will explain where things stand here as well. I have not seen or communicated with Becca at all since that fateful morning. I do not know how prominent she is now in Mari's life. I don't know if they have had any contact, but would imagine they have. The kids have not mentioned Rebecca at all. What they tell me is the extent of what I know, which isn't a lot. However, a few weeks after all hell broke loose, I confided in an old friend exactly what was going on. I chose the friend I made because his wife is a notorious gossip. She too is a good friend of mine. So, I didn't feel any guilt for using one of her negative traits for my benefit. To those that don't know, Becca owns her own salon that employs 9 people besides her, when fully staffed. Since word slowly spread through the friend group, 2 stylists have left Becca's salon. I cannot know if they left for greener pastures or as a protest for her role in my marriage failing. But I can hope. When things are finalized, I will be airing her dirty laundry freely and often. If that causes some people to not want to work for her or visit her salon, that's great. But I will have to wait to verify if my actions bring her any misery. One thing of note is that I ran into Mari's sister in the grocery store. She hugged me and apologized for her sister's stupidity and immorality. I have no doubt many here would have told me to have no contact with her since she is of the enemy camp. But I have always liked Mandy and her husband Doug. So, I invited them over with their children to enjoy the pool. We cooked out and Doug looked after the kids and the grill while Mandy and I talked. We made every attempt to not let any of the kids overhear our conversation. Thankfully they were all distracted by the pool and plenty of good food to let us talk at length. To make a long story short, Mari's family knew she cheated on me with more than one man. But Mari blew smoke up their collective asses when it came to any admissions about body counts. Mandy and her parents were told Mari had a couple of short-term affairs after Michael was born until she got caught. When she used the term a couple, I asked how many Mandy considered a couple. She replied 2 or 3. I went and got the folder containing just text exchanges between Mari and guys she'd sexted for Mandy to view. As she perused through the pages, I explained we were able to verify 47 different guys Mari had engaged in sexual activity since Michael was born. I made sure to explain that those 47 were just the tip of the iceberg since we knew she had often arranged ERNs via various phone apps. Mandy didn't know what to say when she heard Mari's verified body count. She wanted to immediately call her parents to inform them and to curse her sister out. Mari's lack of being forthcoming about the number of men she cheated with was enough bad news to wrap her head around. Then I put 2 and 2 together and realized nobody in Mari's family had yet been told I am not Carrie's father. I'm not sure who was more pissed off about that fact, Mandy or me. But Doug had to stop grilling to attend to his wife due to the tears she couldn't hold back. She walked around to my side of the picnic table and gave me a hug as she told me repeatedly she was so sorry. Doug was stunned. He gave me a pat on the back after making sure Mandy was okay and told me we'd go out for drinks later that week. My soon-to-be ex-wife may be a piece of dog shit, but her family and the people that married into that family seem to be as good as gold. But I will continue being cautious about how much trust I allow. I filled her in on what actually happened that morning and how I came to find out paternity results. She was stunned to say the least. When she told me she wished I'd punched Becca squarely in the nose, I had to ask Mandy's opinion of Becca. Mandy said she never liked Rebecca even as kids. Mandy is 4 years older than Mari, Becca and me. She was a senior when we were freshmen in high school. Mandy said that more than once she caught Becca stealing makeup from her room but was unapologetic. She said she despised Rebecca because she'd always been manipulative and loved causing drama for others. She even told me she'd tried to be a big sister role model for Becca, especially after Rebecca's dad divorced her mom. But Mandy said she'd always been an ungrateful little bitch who wouldn't listen to anyone. I asked if she knew Mari actually wanted Becca as her maid of honor initially. She never said yes or no, but the profane stream of consciousness let me know she was unaware. I filled her in on things Mari had told me via letter and in the company of attorneys. She was as shocked over Mari's reasoning as anyone. She stated their parents hadn't raised them to be like that. She said her sister had declared she never wanted to be with anyone but me long before high school. I'm not sure if that means Mari was deceiving herself from a young age or feelings changed. I just know humans cannot truly love someone and offer their body freely to others. Either the love was never real, or it had died long before I knew it. Mari has made the claim that her heart now and has always belonged to me. I now know that was total bullshit, and I wonder if she was even capable of love. Not that it matters now, of course. If her heart truly belonged to me, I'd be selling it for transplant to the highest bidder, even though I know it's defective. After lunch the kids kept playing, so I got to talk with Doug and Mandy at length. She filled him in while I went and got ice cream for the kids and served them. When I got back, I could see tears in Doug's eyes, and he gave me a long brotherly hug before I sat back down. He asked about the guy I caught Mari with and how much damage I did. All I could tell him was when I left the guy was unconscious and his lower eyelid on the left side looked like it belonged to a hound dog due to sagging. No police ever contacted me. So, I knew his friend never took him to the cops. But I knew enough to know his orbital bone fracture would require surgery and I never got the bill. Doug said I should have killed the guy. I told him if Mari and Becca hadn't jumped on my back to weigh me down, I probably would have. But I'm glad I didn't. Doug asked if anyone had any idea who Carrie's father actually is. I explained the soon-to-be ex had ducked around with far too many guys to know. But I told him the search will go into high gear once all divorce and civil proceedings have been completed. They were both glad to know Mari will get slaughtered in the divorce. They were both glad to know that therapy for all three of us had helped tremendously. When I told them I was anxious for Mari to start working again so she could pay child support and whatever civil fine she ended up owing, they laughed. Doug said if paternity fraud was a crime, Mari would get the death penalty. I told him Mari may as well have committed maternity fraud because any woman that could do what she did was no mother at all. About an hour after they left, my phone started blowing up with calls and texts. The caller ID let me know Mari's mom and dad were both reaching out, as well as calls and texts from numbers with no ID. Then Mandy called and I answered. I could hear her, but there was a lot of screaming and yelling in the background. She stepped outside away from the noise to tell me she'd filled her parents in on all of the truth. Her dad was busy throwing Mari's belongings into her car. Her mom cried and told her what a disappointment she'd become and how ashamed they are to have raised such a slut. Call me old-fashioned. But when your mother calls you a slut, it's pretty safe to say you stayed on the train to Horseville 1, 2, or even 47 too many stops. I could hear Mari crying and pleading that she had no place to go. Instead of gloating she was getting some of what was coming to her, I thought of the kids. I have no issue with Carrie and Michael staying at their grandparents' house. But anywhere else I could think where Mari might go, there was no way in hell I was going to allow them to stay with her. If she went to Rebecca's, there was no damn way I'd allow them to be anywhere around that bimbo beautician. Even if she somehow managed to secure a hotel room with her limited earnings, I didn't trust her not to have some random duck boy stay over. I was happy her family knew some of the truth. But I knew that doing so was going to cause visitation issues. Yet if she didn't find a stable and safe place to stay, I knew the court wouldn't allow any form of unsupervised visitation. Getting to see her kids with supervision for an hour or two every other weekend was going to hurt. But it was a grave she dug for herself with lies and a hellhole vagina. If it meant a homeless shelter or the actual gutter itself, I didn't and still don't care. Mandy, I was still on the phone when I heard Mari come outside and ask if it was me on the phone. Mandy asked what I wanted her to tell Mari. I probably shouldn't have said the truth, because Mari snatched Mandy's phone and began to plead with me. She asked why I was so intent on destroying her life. I simply replied because she destroyed mine. She urged me to have my life back if I'd just forgive her. I told her that life was over and never actually existed due to her lies. Again, she lied and swore she loved me. I told her in a not so eloquent way that the only thing she loved in this life was herself and cock. She insisted none of them meant anything to her. I told Mari they all meant more to her than me or her family's security, or she wouldn't have risked it all over and over. She asked why I had ratted her out to her sister and parents. I asked why she hadn't been honest with them about everything, especially about me not being Carrie's father. She cursed at me and said I am her father. I cursed back and told her I'm Carrie's dad and always will be. But she should have at the very least told her family the truth. She said that her parents were disowning her and kicking her out. I told her I'd heard, I was happy to hear, and I was going to do everything in my power to make things worse. She said she loves me and asked how I could be so cruel to someone that loves me. I told her she should have been asking herself that question 6 years ago. I told her I knew she felt regret, simply because she was losing everything and now people are hearing the truth. But I explained what she did makes her worthy of being shunned as well as spoken ill of and toward. What she was experiencing from her family is what she in fact deserves. Hawthorne gave Scarlet Letters a bad name, she'd be a worthy candidate. 3 days later Nadia called and said Mari's attorney called to try and set up another time to meet together. We set that meeting up for last Friday at Nadia's office. Needless to say, I didn't want to see or talk to her. But I knew being essentially homeless would have implications on judicial custody decisions. As soon as we sat down together, her lawyer informed me that Mari had been living in her car since her parents kicked her out. I asked why she didn't stay at Rebecca's since the bitch helped get her into her situation. Mari didn't respond. Mari asked instead if there was any way I'd let her come home or if we could do marriage counseling. I told her she needed to ask her parents if she could come home. The house I and her children lived in was off limits to hussies, hoes, and harlots. She and Becca were to stay far away. As far as MC went, she was free to try it with whomever was stupid enough to marry her next. But I was certain she could never be faithful to anyone after living like a total whore for so long. Her lawyer objected to my language and the harshness of my words. I told him he was a money-grubbing whore just for representing such a tramp and asked if she was paying her legal bills via OnlyFans or just blowing him. Nadia put her hand on my shoulder to calm things down and asked if we could all be more civil. I asked to take a break because I'd already loaded my next verbal salvo, and I needed to let off some steam. We took a 20-minute break, and I went out to my car just to get away from everyone. I thought about writing "Home Sweet Home" with my key on the hood of Mari's car. But I knew I was on camera, and I was already dealing with enough lawyers. I could see fast food garbage on the passenger side and piles of clothes in the back seat. Living the nightmare. That's what she'd done to her life and mine. I'm trying with the help of a professional to let go of the hate. But I saw no reason to treat her with one molecule of respect or decency. Everything about her was indecent, and sluts don't even respect themselves. At any rate, Nadia urged me to try and keep my answers to the yes or no variety if possible. I agreed to try, but explained there was only so much of my ex's bullshit lies and excuses I could listen to. She assured me she'd try to get us through the meeting as quickly as possible. When we sat back down, I just glared at Mari and her lawyer to let them know without saying a word they could both go duck themselves. Nadia started the meeting back up by asking Mari if she'd sought out or received any therapy for herself. She claimed she didn't have the time while dealing with physical therapy, nor did she have the money as her insurance wouldn't cover therapy. Nadia asked if we paid for it if Mari would attend a few therapy sessions by herself. My head turned toward Nadia so fast when she asked that I thought I'd get whiplash. but she kicked me under the table to let me know she had everything under control. Her lawyer immediately said Mari would only see a therapist of her choosing regardless of who paid for it. Nadia indicated that was fine, but that some therapy might help her process her emotions to be a better mother in the future. I still thought Nadia had lost her mind proposing such a thing, but let her keep talking. Her counsel insisted they would talk about it and give us an answer in the future. My lawyer stated that in spite of being opposing counsel, as a woman she wanted to ensure that any women involved in cases she was involved in, got the help they needed. I won't lie. The way she said it was so convincing I seriously thought my own legal representative had turned on me. Mari asked if we could do counseling as a family unit. That time I kicked Nadia under the table to tell her there was no way in hell I'd agree to that. Nadia kicked me back before telling them if Mari went to several sessions and the therapist thought it would be beneficial, we might. I knew Nadia had a reason to be proposing what she did. Just wish she'd filled me in ahead of time. I knew I'd learn what the goal of her tactics were later, but I was perplexed until the meeting was over. I asked Mari if what she is now going through was worth all the cheap meaningless sex with strangers. I seriously wanted to know if being able to whore around for years was worth losing it all. I pointed out she had to enjoy what she was doing, or she wouldn't have kept doing it. I really wanted to know if those experiences were worth losing a loving husband and custody of her children. She began to weep what looked like sincere tears before telling me no. I asked if she felt any actual shame. I knew she felt tons of regret, if for nothing else getting caught. But I wanted to know if she felt ashamed for people to eventually know every deviant detail of her tawdry escapades. She claimed she very much did, especially now that her family knew. I asked if she really thought she could hide the truth from her family forever. She said she hoped to keep it all getting out at least until she started back to work and got a place of her own. But she knew it would come out eventually. She apologized for hurting me, and claimed she never ever wanted to do that. I told her she didn't hurt me, she fucking destroyed me. I told her every single day, all day long I feel pain. It's in my soul, but I can feel it in my joints, my muscles. But Advil brings no relief. My heart is so broken that when she poisoned my soul it seeped into my appendages. On a good day I feel numb. On a bad day, the tension fills my body. Depression causes physical aching sometimes, and some days I wake up feeling sore for no reason. She cried hearing me express the pain her actions were making me endure. I told her to tell me what I ever did to justify her betraying me so thoroughly and cruelly. She just cried harder. I asked her what she thought she deserved from me and life after the things she'd done. Not what she wanted, what she thought should happen to someone who literally ducked her life away. She began to bawl. I was sick of the tears and lack of answers. I was done. The meeting ended with Mari's lawyer trying to get her out of the office as she repeatedly asked me to forgive her. I kept telling her to go home and drive her home somewhere else, because we were done talking. When they finally got off of the premises, I made Nadia explain why she'd proposed I pay for Mari to see a shrink. She explained doing so would be seen as a favorable act by the court. But Mari was clearly unstable and not coping with life very well. If a professional recommended or insisted she need to be hospitalized for her own good, well c'est la vie. In a distraught state it is very easy to get yourself institutionalized at least overnight. Allowing her to see a professional might get her some help, but it also might help us when they see how frazzled she's become. She deceived me for more than 6 years of my entire life. I feel no guilt in not revealing my true intentions of why I actually want her to see a shrink. If she thinks family therapy is a possibility to get her to go, so be it. Mari is good at digging her own grave. I hope that continues. Yes, I realize this was by no means a short update. But it was as condensed as I could make it. The kids are both doing well. Michael is playing baseball as a pitcher since he's the tallest on his team. He does well from the mound and plate even with the larger strike zone. I'm taking him along with Doug and his 2 sons to see the Sox play the Tigers next week. Miscarried is as beautiful and sweet as ever. She loves the pool and it's been great having friends over with their kids to enjoy it. I want to raise 2 kids that are too busy with life to have their nose pressed against a phone. That may warp them to the point they feel out of place in society. But they'll be my warped kids. Thanks to all for the kind words and support. Every day seems like it brings a new challenge. But knowing I have so many who have my back means more than words can express. Peace and thanks to all. Edit, a few people got the idea that Mandy and her parents knew Mari had cheated on me before I knew. I told her parents about catching her cheating the same morning I told my parents. They knew nothing of her activities before I told them. I did not find out until later Mari had cheated with multiple men, one of which is Carrie's father. I was the one to inform Mari that I am not Carrie's biological father. I just assumed she told her family. When her dad referred to those men, I assumed he knew she'd been with enough guys to give her vagina its own Yelp rating. I love her family. I don't want them to hurt any more over this than they have to. I hadn't have no desire to put salt in their wounds. Mari admitted to a couple short-term affairs to them, that's it. I was trying to protect Carrie and assumed she'd discreetly tell her family. I cut off contact with them and had been communicating via Jessica and Nadia. Until I ran into Mandy, I hadn't had a sit-down talk with anyone in her family. We came to find out Mari was hoping it stayed that way. Sorry for the confusion. TL/DR, my soon-to-be ex-wife hadn't told her family a number even close to the number of men she cheated with or that I'm not the father of her daughter. I told her sister, and she's basically been disowned. We talked. I didn't enjoy it. I think it was me who asked about Becca in the previous update, and it seems that they are no longer friends since she has not been to her house since they took her from her parents' house. Be careful mentioning too many details about lawyers and legal stuff, as Mary or someone else may find this post. THX for the update. Your story has made its way to SSM on YouTube. I've been a long-time subscriber to his channel and he announced your story would be a 5-part series. I looked your username up and just finished reading everything up to this point. First let me say, you are a champion. Nothing less and nothing more. You stood fiercely for the morals that shaped your life and that is beyond commendable in today's society. Second, you are and will be a great father to those children. They are lucky to have you even if their mother is a worthless whore. I know the pain is still bad and the nightmare feels fresh. You will get through it. Time is a healer and you will slowly start to feel that certain days aren't as bad as the previous one. That will be the sign that you are recovering. You may not believe it now, but I hope you find someone that will cherish the person you are. Everyone deserves love. It's inconceivable how evil and nasty your wife turned out to be, but one thing isn't surprising, her deflections and refusal to take responsibility. This has literally become a calling card for women these days. It was my depression, I wanted validation, you weren't showing me the affection I needed. Always another excuse. People really need to face the depths of consequences for their actions before any accountability surfaces. Your wife has reached that point. She didn't deflect in that last meeting. She is realizing the consequences now. I do think going to counseling may be a good idea that Nadia suggested. Don't do it for Maria, don't even do it for yourself. Do it for your kids. Regardless of everything that has happened, they still deserve to have a mother and father. If the counseling can help Mari at least to be a better mother, then it's worth the effort. Stay strong, my dear friend, you will come out of this stronger and better than you can imagine. Me too. It got my attention and I was fuming. I couldn't wait. This hoe is shameless and unique. Whoa, neat. And he announced your story would be a 5-part series. I looked your username up and just finished reading everything up to this point. First let me say, you are a champion. Nothing less and nothing more. You stood fiercely for the morals that shaped your life and that is beyond commendable in today's society. Second, you are and will be a great father to those children. They are lucky to have you even if their mother is a worthless whore. I know the pain is still bad and the nightmare feels fresh. You will get through it. Time is a healer, and you will slowly start to feel that certain days aren't as bad as the previous one. That will be the sign that you are recovering. You may not believe it now, but I hope you find someone that will cherish the person you are. Everyone deserves love. It's inconceivable how evil and nasty your wife turned out to be, but one thing isn't surprising: her deflections and refusal to take responsibility. This has literally become a calling card for women these days. It was my depression, I wanted validation, you weren't showing me the affection I needed. Always another excuse. People really need to face the depths of consequences for their actions before any accountability surfaces. Your wife has reached that point. She didn't deflect in that last meeting. She is realizing the consequences now. I do think going to counseling may be a good idea that Nadia suggested. Don't do it for Maria, don't even do it for yourself. Do it for your kids. Regardless of everything that has happened, they still deserve to have a mother and father. If the counseling can help Mari at least to be a better mother, then it's worth the effort. Stay strong, my dear friend, you will come out of this stronger and better than you can imagine. I really don't think Cop gives a shit. Your advice is spot on, especially since this story have been aired on multiple YouTube channels. As much as my curiosity pushed me to try and get as much info as possible, I hope Pop will read your message. If he doesn't take care of what he say publicly, it could hurt him in the long run. Mari probably doesn't spend much time on internet right now, living in her car, but it can change. The more Mari answers questions, the clearer the picture gets. From the very first time when she met you with Nadia and answered that she was with you because of the safety you provided, up to now when you asked her if she felt shame and she replied that she did, especially after her family found out. Not when you found out, when her family found out. Mari is worried about a lot of things: her reputation, safety, and losing the last bit of comfort that she received after losing you. But the one thing she never worried about was you, your marriage, or your kids. All that you wrote here only confirms to me what it is Mari truly cares about: herself. I mean, it somehow makes sense. It is a mindset she trained herself to be in for at least 6 years. That is not something she can just leave behind, and like I wrote in your last post, I even doubt that it is just a mindset. Be very careful from now on. She is now put into a position where she feels like she got nothing more to lose. She is desperate, and desperate people can be unpredictable. Be prepared. 2 possibilities that come to my mind right now are that she tries to reach out to the kids to show them how badly you treat their mom, trying to manipulate them again, or she will take a rather drastic step to get your attention, which I hope will not happen. Take good care of yourself and the kids. If you can, then reach out to your parents-in-law and let them know that they can see the kids anytime they want. Keep on going to therapy. Stay strong and stay prepared. It wasn't until the last meeting with her that I actually thought she might have some undiagnosed form of mental illness. I have no doubt she is enduring depression at the very least right now. But depression due to an event or events is different from clinical long-term depression. She had depression after having Michael, but I thought it went away. Nadia said she seemed really wound up, ready to snap. I'm sure the manner I spoke to her and things I said didn't help that. But her behavior has been inexcusable, mental illness or no mental illness. She still doesn't get a pass from me. But if therapy helps her act like she's a decent human being again, I hope she goes every day. Just not on my tab. You are so very correct in saying she's desperate, almost like a cornered animal. It may make me the asshole of the year, but I find it ironic if not poetic. She stayed and deceived me for 6 years due to the stability I provided. Now, not only is that stability gone, I've removed the stability she had before we ever met. She's had since birth. She destroyed my life. I've taken something from her she's possessed her entire life, until now. So yeah, I know she's capable of anything at this point, because she has nothing to lose. I have several VARs like you recommended and keep one on me at all times. But she can't even see the kids right now. They have seen her parents, but they haven't seen their mom since nearly a week before Mandy and I talked. That is probably making her more desperate. But she has no place to actually be with them. Her car won't cut it. As for her reputation, if she hasn't figured out it has already gone to shit, she's blind and deaf. People are talking about her. She has no way to do damage control. And it's only getting worse by the day. I think the realization that she's nearly 0% in control of her future is overwhelming her. Her future was set with me, but she chose to make plans. Knowing in a very real sense she chose this for her life has to be killing her inside. That the kids haven't seen her for a week and may not see her for some longer is something you should approach proactively. Talk with their therapist about how you can explain to them why they can't see their mom right now so that they hear that from you and not from someone else. Aside from that, I hope very much that you will very soon experience a time that will allow you to calm down a little and where you can take a breather. The time you have experienced in the recent months was very stressful. Are you still going to the gym? Yeah, I'm staying in shape, but I need to eat more. I do the gym thing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'd been going on hikes the weekends Mari had the kids. But I might have to turn those into walks and bike rides if Mari gets committed or something. And I will talk with their therapist about how to approach the situation if something were to occur. Any chance I have to be proactive in my situation is a good thing. I have a question. My guess is you will be able to answer. But if not, someone else who does know might see and answer. Do women that have been physically cheated on get mind movies? I would assume they do to some extent. I was just curious if it is to the depths it seems to affect men. Not sure how anyone could calculate that. But I have read far too many women on here describe how their pos-slut husbands cheated and how hard it was to deal with. Most men are plagued by often imagining their partner with someone else out of nowhere. Just wondering if women experience the same or a similar phenomena? This is a great question. I'm sure they do to some extent, right? Then again, I've heard that women find emotional affairs more devastating than men do, while men find physical ones more devastating. I think it goes back to our evolution, with males wanting to ensure the kids they have are theirs, where women want to ensure their partner will remain with them for support. But yeah, the mind movies suck. Even when you have no details, you can't help but make them up. I feel for guys that discover them during the act or video evidence, because there's zero room to say it wasn't that bad. And they never go away, just dull. Even after you split. But yeah, I'd like to know this as well. She's a worthless piece of shit. It would be better if she hadn't been born. So forget and ignore her. She is pointless, miserable and a weed. She's a human trash, and by now, it should be easier for you to ignore her and even be glad she made the mistake, so you are able to escape from this toxic vampire, hopeless and selfish and a self-destructive creature. She is delusional too, who believes her own lies are probably the exact opposite of you. She is simply not worth your energy and anger anymore. How stupid she is to even suggest a marriage counseling, just crazy. Women experience the same pain, feeling of loss, heartache and mind movies like men, and just like it is for men, every woman experiences it on a different level. The hurt and pain that comes from being betrayed by someone a person loved is universal, and many would be surprised at how little difference there is between the genders. The biggest differences with the genders often come with the consequences of the affair, since it is more often women than men that stay at home when a child comes into the picture, while the man more often is the breadwinner, though even that is slowly changing, but only very slowly. But the pain and the mind movies are universal. It doesn't matter too much in that case which gender a person belongs to, and much more how much love they have for that other person and what kind of character that person is. Though mind movies play a special role in that category, since they are often stronger if the partner only had one AP instead of many, but this one AP for a certain amount of time. I bet the guy you caught her with was probably married and didn't want to tell his wife what really happened. If he went after you, she would have found out. You're doing well, keep it up. Glad to hear she's getting what she has coming. You have been dealing with this much better than I would have. It is hard to fathom the amount of betrayal you are dealing with. Hope it will continue to go your way. Finally, your soon-to-be ex-wife got to know what it feels like to lose everything and everyone. Karma is a bitch to those who ask her for it. It's good that your soon-to-be ex-wife's sister and her husband agree with you and are on your side in this situation. I hope everything goes well for you in the future. Honestly, your kids are glad to have you as a dad. I'm happy to read this new update. Seems everything will be in your favor now. I won't lie, this shit ducking scares me to think of marriage, knowing that a partner can do this with one thought, just for their own satisfaction, is disgusting. Anyway, I appreciate the update. I got classes in the morning, but now I will probably be reading this update so many times tomorrow. Stay cool, sir. I have to admit, I did not think Mari would ever stray, and certainly not behave like a stray alley cat. And people can say I'm an idiot, that I missed a ton of red flags, or whatever. But until the last 2 or 3 months before the wreck, I suspected nothing. And that was only a slight change in mood and temperament. I just wrote it off to stress from work or being a mom. To learn she had been busy with a multitude of men over a span of years just floored me. I believed, and I still believe, that at the end of the day you either trust them or you don't trust them. Now, I can't see any way of trusting anyone ever again. Just the way people are these days, I don't understand why everyone doesn't have trust issues. But if you don't care about someone in the least, trust isn't even an issue. Thanks. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.